Hello, welcome. Okay, today I wanted to talk to you about all the books that I read in April, because there were a few in here that I really want you to know about, and I thought what a great way to tell you about them. I also have a little bit of a haul that I think I'm going to throw in here at the end, because I bought some books yesterday and I'm excited about it. I have been so restrained this year with buying books. And yesterday I went to the bookstore and I said, Renee, you could get something. And so I did. I read a good spread this month, quite a diverse selection. And so I thought this would be a fun one to do. I haven't done one of these in a few months. So let's start. Let us start. Okay, the first thing that I finished, well, the first thing on my pile right now is Paradiso by Dante. And this is the Dorothy Sayers translation. And I finished Paradiso, which means that I finished the Divine Comedy this month. I read the whole thing, technically twice, but I do not remember the first time at all, so it doesn't really count. This, I think, maybe my favorite section out of the three, at least on this read. There were some very beautiful images and phrases, and I am very drawn to beautiful things. And so I really, really enjoyed that. I am keen to read it again. I feel like I just got a few licks of the ice cream cone, and I want to go back in for more, you know? I think I will for sure reread this when Jason Baxter's translations finish coming out. He has translated Inferno so far. Not this translation, or not this series. My friend had it. I read it. It was so good, and just really helped the poem come alive for me and for a contemporary reader. I really liked it, and so I really want to read his next two, but they're not out yet, and I don't know when they're coming out. So I know I will read those when they come out in a few years, and maybe I'll read it before then, I don't know. But Paradiso. And speaking of Jason Baxter and the Divine Comedy, we have a beginner's guide to Dante's Divine Comedy by Jason Baxter. This I have been reading since January, just slowly alongside my reading of the Divine Comedy. He has super helpful little bits in here. As you can see, it's not a terribly long book. So it's a really nice companion for your first time through, because it clarifies a few things, explains a few of the big images. He just kind of picks some out of each section, and it gives you some insight into the poem, but without completely drowning you. And I really appreciated that. So I finally, along with Paradiso, finished reading the companion. I would say, whoa. If you were thinking about reading the Divine Comedy, I would highly recommend reading stuff with it, whether it's at least an edition that has helpful notes. The Dorothy Sayers has really good notes, or something like this. This is the only one I've read. I thought it was great. So it's the only one I can really recommend. But just know that, sorry, my card was full. Know that you're going to need help, and that's okay. I also recently made a video full of all the things that I found very helpful as I was making my way through all of the tips or resources that I came across that I used as I was reading it the first time. Anyway, I made a video about it. I'll link it below if you are into that sort of thing. The next two that I want to mention are the series of unfortunate events. I'm continuing reading these. I'm pretty sure I mentioned them in some video a little while back that I was going through this series again, but I read 7 and 8 this month. So number 7 is The Vile Village, and number 8 is The Hostile Hospital. These books are about 3 orphans who are being pursued by an evil man who wants to steal their fortune. And they escape from him over and over again by their supernatural, almost, not quite, but almost, skills and wit. They love each other, and that's really sweet. It's also kind of sad and a little bit heavy, but I think kids can handle that. I kind of appreciate that. But there is also like a little happy ending at the end of every one. You know, they always get away. At least so far. I do not remember how book 13 ends, so I'm kind of excited to get there. Getting close. Next book that I finished in April was my first Sir Walter Scott novel. And Guy Mannering, you let me know. I guess it depends if you're French or English. But look at, isn't that gorgeous? Wow, incredible. So these editions are so lovely. And I love how small they are. I can fit them in my pocket. I don't know if I can fit it in this one. Oh, I can. Oh. I love a small little book that just fits everywhere. I actually, speaking of that, I forgot that the reason I had started reading this book was because of its size. I was going to a concert and I could only bring like a teeny weeny little bag into the stadium. And I always like to bring, I was going to the concert alone, and I always like to bring a book because you wait in line and then you wait for the show to start and you wait in between performers. So I had to get my smallest book and fit it in my pouch. So that's why I started reading this, because it fit in my little bag. And I'm glad I did. I have a bunch of Sir Walter Scott novels in this edition, and it was fun to crack into them. Finally, I've had them maybe for about a year. They were a little challenging in some ways because I guess the hardest bit was when they write out in speech in dialect. Is that in the vernacular? I'm not sure how you say that. But it's not written how you would normally spell it. So you have to say it out loud to figure out what is going on. So a few times I was confused. There's a few names that are like the son and the father have the same name. A couple people who have more than one name. So I had to read this while I was awake and alert. But it was a good story, and it was fun to see how novels were written in this time period, because we always have different styles and different tropes and different norms. And I have not read much from this time period as far as novels go. So I did really enjoy that. But okay, wait, hold on. Look at the front of this. There's also a nice little emblem. They're just so nice. So, Sir Walter Scott. Okay, and one of the books I want to mention now so I don't forget, because I do not have the physical copy anymore, because it was so good, and you know it was so good because I've already lent it. Someone else is reading it. A shame, because I have a very beautiful copy I would have loved to show you, but I'd much rather someone else be reading it than me just holding on to it. Anyway, that book, hold your breath, The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. I read this book, believe it or not, 2 times this month. Twice. The first time I had a strong personal emotional reaction. And that's the main reason I read it the second time, because I knew that the book is so beautiful and full of love, and this beautiful view of how love and beauty just realign everything and make everything good and save you in a lot of ways. And there's so many flowers. It's excellent, excellent, excellent. And I kind of missed it the first time, I'll be honest. So I read it again. I loved it a lot more the second time. I loved it the first time, but I got myself out of the way more the second time and could really appreciate what was going on. Anyway, if you were looking for a book that you want to lift your spirits, that you want to fill you with springtime joy, that you want to get you out of a reading slump, I recommend Enchanted April. I'd never read anything by von Arnim, had never even heard of her before this book, but I read it because why else do I read anything? Because the Literary Life podcast read it. And my best friend has been telling me, I have to read it, I have to read it, I have to read it for like 2 years. And finally this April, I read it because obviously you have to read it in April, obviously. And it was good. It was so beautiful. Oh, just thinking about it makes me happy. Sorry. Wow, I heard a lawnmower and I got real defensive about my flowers. I planted some flowers, but there's a guy who comes and mows the lawn, and my biggest fear is that he will cut them down. Surely they wouldn't do that. Surely. Okay, I have one more here that I want to show you. This you might recognize from my Irish readathon wrap-up. But that is this collection of short stories by Maeve Brennan. And I just read a few more in here this month. I don't think I'm gonna finish the whole collection, even though that is the push, that is the urge. But I'm trying to let myself, like, just because someone put all the short stories in a book like this, doesn't mean you have to read all the short stories at once. I need to remember that. And often you can remember them and appreciate them much better when you read them kind of one by one. So, and I just wasn't fully in the mood for this anymore. I wanted to read something else. So I let myself put this down and move on. So, Maeve Brennan, I do love these. I do love her short stories. And it's called The Springs of Affection. Not technically the same use as the season, but it does say spring in there. So, on theme. I hope, sorry, I'm so distracted by everything outside. My flowers will be fine. Oh, I was about to say goodbye and I promised you a haul. One second. Here we are. Okay. I popped into this used bookstore. A few that I needed, a few that I just couldn't resist. Okay. Okay, first, The Jungle Book. I don't love this edition. It's just puffin paperback, but I need to read this for the podcast soon, and I've been keeping my eyes open, and I have not found a nicer copy, and so I got this one for $5. I can always get a more beautiful one if I find it, but anyway, Jungle Book. I've never read it. Very excited. Then I got a couple C.S. Lewis books that I stumbled across that I do not have. First one, A Preface to Paradise Lost, in this fun yellow paperback by C.S. Lewis. Excellent. And then this guy, C.S. Lewis, Study in Words. Some more literary criticism stuff. I'm not even sure what the topic is of this one, but it was by C.S. Lewis and I didn't have it, so that is enough for me. He is maybe one of the only people who I do that for. Like if it's something I don't have, especially these guys, which like this probably is not in print anymore. So when I find it at a used bookstore, I just go because I never know when I might stumble across it again. Still looking for the third volume of his letters. Let me know if you find that. Okay, and then the last one, I got this collection of short stories of Guy de Maupassant. Wow, a spring of geese. I've been looking for a collection that has the necklace in it, and this one does. Sorry, I did not even show it to you. It's all right. It's kind of worn, but old and beautiful. And it has a bunch of stories, but most importantly, the necklace, which is the one that I am going to read. The paper is pretty crappy. It's like very yellow paper, but it'll do the trick, and it will look nice on my shelf. Okay, that was it. Only 4 books for my little haul. I felt like that was very restrained. Wow, what a lovely April it has been. I am so excited to keep reading. What am I reading in June? I don't know. I'm reading, okay, I know a few things. I'm reading Canterbury Tales. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. I am reading North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell right now. And that is great. I read Hard Times recently, and North and South is kind of a response to that. So it's been fun to read them together. Other than that, let me look around at my piles. I'm still slowly making my way through C.S. Lewis's journals from 1922 to 1927. They're just like a list of stuff he does every day. So less narrative pull to drive you forward. And oh yeah, I also started rereading this other middle grade novel on my shelf called Breadcrumbs by, I think, Anne Ursu, I think. I read it in undergrad. I kind of forgot about it. I forgot what's going on in there. So I wanted to read it and see if I should keep it on my shelf. And also a friend brought it up, and so I thought, what a good opportunity. So kind of a random mix. I feel like I'll be picking off some random ones from my shelf this month, which is always very exciting when you don't have anything you have to read and you can pick whatever you want. Okay. Oh, this has been a lovely time, but I'm gonna go. People are coming over soon, and by people I mean one person. Gotta wrap this up. But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Please let me know what you are reading right now. I would love to know. I really would. Please tell me. Please let me know. I think that's all I had to say. There will be links to all the books below if you're interested. Have a good day. Okay, bye.